So you just got your hands on your new EOS R mirrorless camera and don't know what to do with it yet. It made you so excited that makes you want to shoot photos and videos maybe almost immediately. Hold your horses guys, you may want to watch this quick tutorial and tips on how to properly update the firmware that came with it to the latest one. Hey guys, Anthony Duque here, and today I'm going to be teaching you on how to update your Canon EOS R's default firmware to 1.6 version that Canon has released last 12th of May 2019. But before that, let me quickly tell you what to expect on this update. It's still a sunny day here in Dubai, as always, but I'm really thankful about it because I do have high hopes that the temperature will kill the coronavirus. Kill that corona! Kill it! I just want to go out. Now, this is not a major firmware release by Canon just like what they did from the previous one, which was the 1.4 version, but it does give an important tweak to your EOS R. Prior to this latest firmware update, Canon has released a 1.4 version, which many of the pros has considered to be a major upgrade to the EOS R system. It enhanced the eye detection autofocus for improved face and eye recognition at greater distances, and this is a big thing, especially for videographers, as the subject typically moves almost all the time. Yes, that's me goofing around. No, really, I was just testing how good the autofocus is. Now, this is not a camera comparison video, so please guys, spare me the stones saying Sony is better, Panasonic, Nikon, Olympus, Pentax or Fujifilm, because they are all good camera manufacturers in their own way. It all boils down to personal preferences. Now, there are 4 enhancements and fixes with the version 1.6 according to Canon, and they are: support for the RF 85mm f1.2L USM DS lens has been added. Now, DS on your lens means defocus smoothing, that delicious bokeh, that out-of-focus effect that the lens produces. And USM on your Canon lens stands for the ultrasonic motor. Now, this is not a shot from an 85mm 1.2 because I don't have it, but this shot was made by a 50mm 1.4 prime at wide open aperture. You get the idea of the blurring effect. Enhancement number 2. It corrects a phenomenon in which the function or setting value assigned to the control ring may change when the control ring is operated in echo mode. Enhancement number 3. It corrects a phenomenon in which the camera may stop operating properly during the auto transfer when using Camera Connect with a Wi-Fi connection. Now, I don't recommend doing an auto transfer from the camera to a device such as the mobile phone or computer unless you are shooting in a studio that demands a continuous power supply. In this case, you may also need to consider using DC coupler that replaces your battery into a dummy battery, sources power from the wall outlet. Enhancement number 4. Corrects a phenomenon in which high-speed synchronization with use of an external flash may not operate properly depending on the camera's setting for custom function 2, which is set shutter speed range. Now, this firmware update is for cameras equipped with firmware up to version 1.4. If the camera's firmware is already version 1.6, now this update is unnecessary. Very important note though, once the EOS R is updated to version 1.6 or any future update later, it cannot be restored to a previous firmware version or version 1.0 to 1.4. Keep that in mind. Force the downgrade and you run the risk of breaking that expensive piece of technology. Don't tell me I didn't tell you. Alright guys, so let's head on to how to download and install the 1.6 firmware for EOS R system. So go ahead and go to google.com and type EOS R firmware update 1.6. In my case, I already have it because I downloaded the firmware earlier, but I'm just gonna redo this for you guys. So go ahead and enter that. You can choose Asia, you can choose IN or Australia website, but in my case I'd like to go to Canon Europe. Okay, so I'm now in canon-europe.com, and it brought me to the page where it says that you can select your support content. So you've got the drivers, software manuals, apps, and firmware. Now go ahead and click firmware. Now it'll give you two options. Okay, so make sure you know the platform you're using. If you're on a Windows platform, use Windows, but in my case I'm using a Mac OS Catalina, so I'm gonna go ahead and download the firmware. Now it'll ask me to click to accept and download. That's typical, just click that version. Okay, locating install your download. Basically this page just says where the downloaded file is going to. This is about Google. Just close that one. Below the page you'll see a message that says this type of file can harm your computer. Do you want to keep EOS R version 1.6 Mac DMG? Anyway, yes, go ahead and keep it. Now it has downloaded from my end. Just go and find a file, go to the directory folder, find a file. In my case, I'm just gonna click the arrow and go to show in Finder. Now my directory folder is in the downloads. I already have it here. All I gotta do is double click it. So go ahead and double click it, guys. Now once the file is opened, it will automatically mount it as a drive, so don't worry about that, just click that one. Okay, so the firmware is right here now. All you gotta do is get your SD. In my case, I have my SD card now, and I'm gonna insert it to my drive. Once you see your SD card or your external storage for the EOS R, just go ahead and drag the file or drag the firmware into your SD card. You do not have to execute the program. All you gotta do is just keep it on the root folder or in the root folder. Don't put a special folder. Do not put inside the DCIM folder or miscellaneous folder. Just keep it in the root folder. And what you need to do, guys, is to unmount your SD card. You can go ahead and delete the mounted firmware because we don't need that. Take off your SD card and put it now in your EOS R. Now the next thing that you want to do is to make sure that your battery or the battery that you're going to use for the EOS R system is fully charged. Do not use a half charge or about to be emptied battery, because you may run into the risk of bricking the system. You want to make sure that you have a fully charged battery to ensure that the installation process is going to be safe. All right, so go ahead and switch on the camera. Okay, once it successfully opens, just go ahead and press menu. Okay, so you'll see a camera option, you'll see an AF option, you'll see the play option, and you'll see the wrench option. Just go ahead and click the wrench option. Okay, so you'll see a subfolder that says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just go all the way to folder number 6, and then right at the bottom you'll see firmware. Okay, my one is already version 1.6 because I've already done it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and click firmware. It says update camera firmware as needed, and you have two details which says camera and lens. Now you may have or you may run into seeing version 1.0 or 1.4. If that's the case, if it's just less than 1.6 version, just go ahead and press camera and it will tell you the current version of your system. Now if you see that your system or your firmware's version says 1.4 or below, just go ahead and press OK. In my case, I'm just gonna cancel it because there's no need to update it to 1.6. It's already 1.6. Okay. Now once you hit OK, don't do anything. Let the system do its thing. Let the system install the firmware and wait for it to finish. Do not switch it off. Do not do anything. Do not press any button on the camera. Just let it finish, and once it's done, you just have to switch it off like a soft restart, and then you can start using the camera. I really hope you learned something from this video and was able to do the update of your new EOS R system. I really hope you learned something from this video and was able to do the update of your new EOS R's firmware properly. Yes! That is it, people. Now, if you found this video helpful and was happy to see the love canvas behind me by Niche Canvas, not a sponsored video, but I'm going to type down the link to their website so you can get your new canvases up to your wall just like mine. Consider hitting that like button, click it, press it, push it, do whatever you want to do. Consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my videos. Stay safe, wash your hands, clean your room, and I shall see you in the next one. Be kind. Peace. This is what I do. Peace. 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 It's not happening. Now, this is not a major firmware release by Canon, just like what they did from the previous one, which was the 1.4.